borrowing transaction, you might want to draw an arrow down to that statement because that's exactly what we're saying. All right, now let's take a look at a sale leaseback criteria not met. We're told that billing company held equipment on its books with a remaining useful life of 10 years and a carrying amount of $415,000. By the way, doesn't this sound like the facts that we saw just a few moments ago? Ultimately, they sold it for $490, and at the time of the sale, the fair value was $470. Hello? So we had the carrying value. I'm going to underscore that, $415. I'm going to have that they sold it. I'm going to circle the $490. I'm also going to circle the fair value as $4.
Hello.
Wait, why you sound so soft?
Hello.
Oh, there we go. That's more like it.
Okay, so routine-wise, we agreed on it being 5 to 10 minutes, right? Or did you want to interject?
No, that's fine with me.
Okay.
Do you have a you want to talk about this in real quick?
What?
You have a doc for this?
No. Do you want to start a doc?
Oh, do you want me to, or are you gonna do it?
What information? Oh, I'm streaming.
Streaming what?
I'm streaming on YouTube. Streaming me Lubing Switches.
No, you're not.
I am.
Where's the link?
It's, oh, I see you're not a subscriber.
I guess not.
Yeah. Dude, streaming on YouTube sucks. It sucks so much.
Why?
Because it's so difficult to find everything. It's like, I don't know how to use like the OBS. I changed my OBS, so it's like something different. Now it's just blah 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 blah.
I'm gonna reuse the old dude. I don't remember. I can't log into the old Mulan email.
Doesn't it just do a stack?
No, I know that's the password, but the thing is, they're like, oh, this is an unrecognized account.
Oh, then what's the
phone number? Something ends with I think an 86 or a 68, something like that.
Maybe Tao. You have Tao's number?
I do not have Tao's number, or I don't think I do. I gotta redo. It's an iPhone XR with the last 2 digits of 28.
28. Yeah, that's Tao.
Oh, that is Tao's number. Freaking Tao.
Yeah, so just ask her to let you on.
Oh, that's okay. I just renamed the group here. Let me share this with you. Oh, you are shared with it, your email.
Of course.
Alright, I'll send this to you here. That's the new folder. I just do all the meetings and stuff in there. Alright.
Oh, how do you find?
What do you mean, fine? Expected duration. Are you on the doc?
There you go. Let me pull up the doc.
Oh. Why are you lubing switches? That sounds so interesting.
Because I'm making a keyboard. Alright, the routine. Here.
Wait, why are you live though?
Because I wanted to make a YouTube channel. That's on my bucket list. So I was like, you know what? I wanted to make this. Might as well 2 birds, 1 stone. And so YouTube saves your VODs. And so if I wanted to make a YouTube channel, then I could just take the VOD, download it, and then edit. Fun, right?
Interesting. Yeah, interesting. Alright, here's expected duration. Do we have the pictures and everything?
Should be in
this was sent in the Mulan, right? Yeah, right?
Mm-hmm.
Man, dude, since I don't have 2 monitors now, this freaking sucks, dude.
You don't have 2 monitors?
No, remember I told you, or I don't know if I told you, but my monitor, what's it called? Broke? But my second monitor died on me. I have 2 of the same monitor, but it died on me. So I'm trying to see if I want to make another monitor. or buy another monitor. I'm trying to fix the other one though, because like it's outside of the 1 year warranty. Blah blah blah. This blah blah blah.
Ah.
Trying to figure out if I want to buy this one monitor for $400 or not.
What's
It's
your current monitor?
It's the LG 27 GL650.
Ooh.
It's like a
2760.
regular full HD 27-inch monitor, 1 millisecond response time, 144 hertz or 165 hertz, something like that.
Nice.
So I'm either gonna get that one, or no, the one I want to get is the older brother of this monitor, which is the 2K monitor. Everything's basically the same, but obviously more updated hardware and stuff. But I want to get the older brother of this one, which is the GP850 27, the 27 GP850.
Nice. I
All
can't
right,
lie.
here, so
I can't tell the difference between monitors. I'm assuming GP is something.
are you gonna be a Sinhot this week or no?
I had to see my workload.
Because I know you were
Because
talking about saying that everything is kind of getting better for you, but it
I
seemed to
mean now, right
change all
now,
of a sudden.
it's like gonna be the start of busy season, so I have like no expectations. So I wouldn't like have a lot of time. I don't know how I'm gonna be managing like busy season plus studying.
I thought you finished
No,
studying or whatever.
nope, dude, I'm not gonna be done for like a while. It's been hard because there's like four
Yes.
tests. I haven't even taken
Oh, is
one
there?
yet, but right now it's just
Oh,
like I have to schedule it and then just pray that I have all the information in my head.
gotcha. I recently saw Eric and Teresa got engaged.
Yeah, dude.
How was
Congrats to
that?
them. That was a lot faster than we thought. We helped planned it, and they did it yesterday, which is why I
Yeah,
was
I saw
busy.
the post.
Yeah. It was nice. It was cold outside. That's my only complaint.
I
Decided to
mean,
do it
yeah, what do
outside.
you expect? I mean, it's fine. I mean, it doesn't need to be something like super big and extravagant. It just has to be meaningful for the two of them. So, right?
Yeah, it was nice, short, sweet, and then we went to go out to eat afterwards, which is also nice.
That's pretty cool. All right, let's talk about this thing. How
Okay.
do you want to do this routine?
Well, initial expectations were that, I thought we were just going to be walking, but apparently that's not the case anymore. And so, did you want to start it off like how we normally do? Of where, like, the lines are sleeping, and then they just wake up, walk around for a little bit, Because if we're looking to kill time, I'm not sure what your expectations are for this performance or what you're looking to
Well,
get out of it.
my main thing right now is it's literally just crowd engagement. If it's mainly gonna be like white people if it's literally just gonna be like how we did at Loyola, where people are just sitting, you know what I mean? Then it's not really too much of our style of performance per se, because it's like
Are you talking
we
about?
kill so much time. We kill so much time by like walking around and like walking through the crowd, talking to like, or not talking, but engaging with like people and stuff like that. And then we come back, we do a couple like showy moves in the middle, and then we end.
Yeah. Are you talking about like when we lead them in or the actual performance?
When we lead them in.
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah.
we're not leading them in based off of what they said. We're literally just gonna be, sleeping. But it's not really gonna be a sleeping thing too, because they're already gonna see us. They're gonna see us. We're gonna lay down. We're gonna sleep, and then like 2 seconds later, da da da,
Yeah.
like we wake them up.
It's like the start of the performance. Okay, I need a.
What?
I'm reading through the chat. Blah
Okay.
blah 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 blah. Pictures. Okay, so we're not leading them in. Okay, that's confirmed. We're not leading them in from the church to the gym. right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, that's true.
Okay. Then we could. I mean, if we're talking about engagement wise, I don't think it necessarily matters since the performance is so short.
Okay,
Uh,
that's fine.
we could spend like 30 seconds to move around, walk around with the crowd. From like looking at the space, we could definitely kill time like that if we're looking to kill time. Unless you want to do like tricks, jumping, rolls and footwork.
So I guess my idea, at least, okay, how about this? What's your idea of this routine? Like, if you had to just go like right now on the spot routine, what would you do in this space?
In this space, walk around for like a minute, do bow, uh, probably like some filler, don't know what it is yet, and with a stack and scroll.
Yep, I guess we're on the same page. All right.
So, okay, I guess now it's just how long we're walking and
Yeah.
what the filler is. So it sounds like we got the beginning and the end. We just need the middle.
Yeah. We just need a middle.
Okay, then.
Let's say 30 seconds. Wake up to drum beat. Oh wait, I should probably do this in bullet points.
Cause what? Judging from like area wise, they could go in between. Cause it's like big enough that they could like go through all the tables and everything. So they could always do that. Omdia could always guide them around, and we could always like play around with the crowd. But if that's not what Jazz looking for, and if he wants like a strict performance, then we just cut that part.
I think he just mainly just wants something just to show. Like it's
Okay.
just to show. So that's why I said I don't expect too much. The only thing that could be kind of nice is like if someone, mainly I'm looking at like Vin and Mindy, if they could do a head in the middle of these tables and then just walk around one of the tables. Like that's the most I would like. That's something that's like a reach if we could do it. If not, then just walking around them or doing a stack next to them or doing whatever. We have to also see the spacing. You know what I mean? That's really based on Ongdia when they come in and they kind of make that call
I agree. Because
for
right
spacing.
now, like first perception of it, I'm not really super confident in doing head between tables, only because I don't know how close people sit.
Yeah.
So I think that's a judgment call if we do that. If not, they could just walk around the center stage. But filler wise, I think that do you want it to be more trick centric or do you want it to be more footwork centric?
We don't really have good footwork centric stuff
Well, that's
from
why
what I
we
remember.
would practice footwork centric, as in like the one jumping thing.
What one jumping thing?
It's the one where they jump on one foot, the head looks away. It's like the beginning of Baby Shark.
I don't remember that.
Okay.
What did we do?
It's like the one where it's like jump, jump, jump. While the head like turns. I'm not sure which performance we did that. I'm assuming it's 30.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I remember what you're talking about. It's the jump turn, jump turn, jump turn. Yeah. With the crisscross leg. That was with Henry and someone else.
Mindy.
Yeah.
Cindy.
Henry was in that too, I think.
Yeah.
Or was he not? Or no, it was like Vin and Aiden, I think. But okay.
There's that one.
If we do stack and scroll, we need to practice that a lot because they're not used to the heads firstly already, and they're not going to be used to sticking their hand out. Especially what's her face? Tian and Jeff, if they're doing that part, whatever.
I mean, that's another question
Be-
that we should ask. I'm not sure who's gonna be there at practice on Saturday. So.
Yeah, it's hard given that like we're not. That's why I want to have something for the kids to work toward, so that they have an idea what's going on. You know?
No.
Because are
What
you
do you
gonna
mean
be here
work
Saturday?
towards? Who?
You're not gonna be here Saturday, right?
Don't know.
Like when can you know? Because like it's hard to like gauge things around if I don't know if you're gonna be there or not, especially with like Sinhwat too. Because like now it's like I can't do both and then also do choir.
Yeah.
I need to know who else will be there.
Battles. Yeah, I wasn't expecting to have Mulan this year. That was a welcome surprise.
Come on, man, you're an adult now, man. You gotta start juggling.
Yeah, you
You
know.
gotta give up one thing.
Yeah, yeah. It's called Tunyi, and then they wrote me back in. I think I don't plan to be there. I'm really trying to get my first test in by the end of January. So I was like gonna take this time to like really study. I would wait until Fat has a response. If Fat's not there and you're busy, then I could be there. But I'm like last resort in my mind.
Well, I mean, Saturday's Fat should be there. I think Sunday practices is either gonna be me or you. That's just how it is.
Okay, that sounds good.
All right, let's finish this routine kind of skeleton thing, and then we could adjust as the kids add their input. I thought the kids would be more like involved. It's always like this. Someone has to take the lead, and then everyone else always fills in later. It's so hard for like me to like put something out there and then no one responds.
I think that it's more so. I mean, do you want me to talk to them, or what
What do you
were
mean
your
you
plan?
to talk?
As in, like, I think when it comes to messaging people, especially in Tunyi, since it's such like a volunteer thing, I definitely lead on the side of being more proactive with the responses.
What do you mean you lead in that?
Like I would like recommend instead of just saying hey and having like kind of this open ended if we want to do something like this, then I'd be like, hey guys, you know, Dave and I were talking to see if you guys wanted to help with the routine. Probably like I think next time we should schedule a time just so they have.
But
like,
the thing is with scheduling a time, it's like everyone's so busy. That's why it's so hard for me to.
It would be like open office hours. You know.
Okay. Well, why don't you be in charge of the Mulan social media or reach out engagement thing then from now on?
Because I think. I mean,
if that's okay with you more then.
Yeah, I wasn't. I didn't think that you were, you know, gonna message them while we were talking. I was gonna, because I was.
I literally asked you.
No, you asked me, but I was like out. I was It was Eric's birthday, so we went out that day, and we were heading back home. So I wasn't expecting you to reply so fast.
Okay.
Dude, I lost my AirPods. I'm so sad.
How do you lose your AirPods?
I don't know. Did you know AirPods don't have Find My feature?
No, they do.
No, that's only for. Oh, let me rephrase. AirPods have the Find My feature, but not the case.
No, the case has it built in. The actual AirPods do not.
That's actually. I mean, the Apple 2, like AirPods 2, are releasing it so the case has it.
Oh, really? Is that what it was?
Yeah. Like, it was
okay, maybe I flipped
the headphones, yeah. Because I
Interesting.
can't find my case, dude. It's cool.
Don't you have the pros?
I did have the pros. Maybe that's why.
I also have the pros. I mean, I usually just leave my AirPods at home when I use them at home. I have my old AirPods at work.
Oh, I sold those for the pros. Pros were nice though. If only I could find them. I want to get the Max.
All right. I also heard about those, and I also want to try them.
All right.
All right. Let's fill in this middle filler. Okay. So we're gonna do bow.
Yep.
Or 3x bow.
I mean, we have the same
Lion.
skeleton for every performance. It's like bow into like dun 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 dun, and then we could do like
So then we should do a trick,
yeah.
right?
Do you want how many pairs do we have? We have 3 technically, 2.5.
2.5. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out the pairs now too, because it's like it's always mix and match. I need like, because every pairing has different abilities to do tricks and experience, you know? So it's really hard to figure that out.
Well, we have what pairs do we have? We have Dean and Jeff. I haven't been in a practice with Mindy, so I can't really say for that.
Mindy and Vin work well together.
Okay. Well, we have Mindy and Vin, and then who did Aiden
And then
work with?
Vin and Aiden also work well together.
The
The last time that I was there, Aiden practiced with Tien,
okay. Probably then.
and they hit head.
Well, okay. I
Semi
think
good.
as much as it pains me to say, I think Jeff should be the one on the back foot.
What do
Until
you
he
mean
has
on the
more
back foot?
experience.
Oh yeah, I think so too.
I think it's hard to be a tail when you're not comfortable and have like muscle memory with moving.
Yeah.
So we could plan.
And I guess
for-
Jeff too. I think it would be good for Jeff to come and quote unquote just like he'll practice, but he won't do the first performance. I think if he gets more comfortable, he could do the church performance, but he
Oh,
should
I was
still be there to like
totally-
kind of like shadow.
Oh, dude, I was totally gonna say he would just switch out in the middle of the performance.
Oh, you think so? Or we could do that too.
Well, that's
If you
'cause
want-
that's
it-
usually the
For
plan.
for a performance so short as this, I don't think we can just switch out. It just doesn't look right.
Depends on what
in
the
my
filler is,
opinion.
in my opinion. It depends on what we film in the middle. If we want Jeff to have experience with it, if not,
Okay.
then he could definitely stay towards the.
Jeff could do walking. He could do if he could land a stack. He could do the walking into the bow into the stack, and then switch out when another pair does something a little bit more nice.
Yeah,
If that's what you want to do.
yeah, it works. Because that way we could have Jeff at least do something. It also depends. It's also a really late performance, so he doesn't necessarily have to be there if he doesn't want to. But if so, then he could definitely do that, and then we could have the other lion do like high jump balloon pop, you know.
Oh yeah, we could do that again.
Classic distraction. Because I think they would need like 30 seconds to do it. But it's also, if we're gonna do something like that, then we just need a way to get rid of one lion that's on stage while one lion does something, like a reason to leave. So what do we plan for after bow? You said just do a trick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have something in my head, but I'm not sure if Jeff could do it.
What is it? Donkey?
No, it was gonna be. Yeah, that works. It was gonna be head,
Why would he do head?
head, and then the other line kicks him, and so he stumbles off stage where he could, switch.
Oh, I mean that's up to him. I haven't seen him go to practices and stuff. So
Yeah.
All right. Again, like I said, you'll be engagement and reach out to kids now. So I'll let you decide how you want to phrase.
Well, we
and
could also
talk about
see
that.
what it's like on Saturday.
Okay.
We could have a list of tricks that we plan for them to do and see if they can hit it with the lion head on, or at least with pants. At least something.
Yes. We should start doing practices. Everything from now on is unless if they, I think most of them are comfortable with, or at least the heads, the 3 heads including Vin, are comfortable with doing tricks. Now it just needs to be doing tricks with the head
Okay.
per se. Because like Aiden was strong enough to lift up Tien and do all the tricks. Tien needs a little bit more work in the sense of anything higher than a stack. Anything higher than a stack, she needs to keep her legs in and not kick back. So,
Okay.
yeah. And now it's just building strength and muscle. And then making sure they look good as a lion. That's why I don't want to do too much footwork stuff necessarily yet, because, I mean, footwork is better as a more fundamental thing. It's not good going into a performance, per se.
Okay.
Did we want to... Let's see here. I'm trying to think. What else do you want to do in this middle part?
I mean, that's after the switch, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, assuming the story would be like in Omdia walks out with the balloon. Both lions like fight for it. Jeff goes into head, and then I guess Vin and Mindy do something.
Or one lion, whoever the more experienced per se lion or semi-experienced could just do like a head and or a stack or whatever. Or let's say we did the 180 jump or whatever to scare the one other lion off and then roll off, like roll out. If one can do roll.
Okay.
I don't know how to switch this out. One lion scares the other out.
Yeah, I guess that's the main thing. One lion just has to scare the other one out. It could be...
Or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as long as they scare the other lion out with something, then they could switch, and then...
I'm not going to say one lion. I'm going to just do line A, line B.
Okay.
I'll probably switch these two. Whatever line B is, I think if we should let them do like a hide trick too. So maybe like I don't know if they can when like let's say Ongdia comes in with a bale of Lisi. You know, like how we always do that, or they do the thing where they come in and eat the. Whenever you do not remember when Jat always comes in with a really freaking high ass stick.
Okay, that's
the lion to eat it.
Bale.
Huh?
What'd you say?
I said Ongdia comes in with a really high stick.
No, you said bale. All right, I was thinking like a bucket.
I said a bale, or okay, I think I said bundle or a bale of Lisi, but yes.
Okay, then yeah. I would.
Or we could do the one with the cabbage.
I don't think we should do cabbage. I think cabbage is way too much work.
Okay. But cabbage is authentic.
Yeah, but I don't want to clean anything.
Also, Lisi is also authentic.
Oh, I'm fine with Lisi. I would just watch out for pillars because I'm not sure how high everything is. I don't really have a good spatial distance from these photos. I have to be there in person to like
yeah, we could always make adjustments.
But yeah, I actually like that idea. Let's just write down. Okay, so what do we have so far? Where is it? Here we go.
So far, sleep, wake up. We'll do the three stage walk up thing, or 3 stages, 3 drum, or 3 wakes up 3 times. Let's do that. We're not doing fancy bow, we're just doing traditional bow, right?
Yes. Wait, what do you mean? Oh, like just
Yeah.
Not the. I mean,
yes.
I think they both work.
I like fancy bow because that's more traditional, quote unquote traditional, but
Okay, we can
traditional
do
bow
that.
is like. But yeah, we can see how they feel.
I would say let's just write down as much as we can. We
Yeah.
time it roughly on Saturday and see if we need to make adjustments.
Okay. I think this is good amount of stuff.
I feel like we always overjudge or underjudge how much we do.
I think we always. I think we always think that the timing is faster than what it is,
Is it? Okay. Yeah.
or faster or slower than what it is.
Yeah, so we always go over or under.
Yeah. It always just depends on if something gets messed up or if someone throws a wrench into our performance, like
Yeah.
Jazz.
Yeah, that's usually what happens. Oh man, that performance dude, we had everything down to a T.
What do you mean had everything down to a T?
We had like that performance, or it was the anniversary. I don't remember. I think it was that. Where we had like everything done. You know, we had a routine. We practiced the routine. But then Jack walked out with a stick, and so the other line just stood there. And I was like, oh
Oh
man.
yeah, I do remember this performance you're talking about, and I remember too that after that performance we had Jessica be like, "No, Jazz, you need to wait until they're ready before you do that."
Yeah.
I do remember this. Oh, who's gonna be on the?
Mm-mm. I feel like Omdi is not super hard to learn.
I think Ongdia should be someone.
Someone.
Oh, sorry, someone experienced.
Okay.
Am I missing any other roles?
No. Don't think so.
Right, that should be pretty good. This routine seems so skeleton, but I mean it works. It
That's
is what
usually
it
how
is.
it goes. We never really have like a story per se. We should just do tricks. Also, we don't really do footwork either. So
I mean, yeah, that's why I want to get into the habit of footwork, but we can't do that.
yeah, but that's like actual dancing. I'm not a dancer. I can't come up with footwork. That's not my forte. I can only do tricks. That's something I
Oh, we
delegate to
should.
YouTube.
Oh, can you hit up Tao and tell her to unlock the account or unlock the Gmail then or the Mulan email?
Sure.
I don't know if are
What's
here.
the
Let me see. Let me try logging into it. What was it? SBC, no, Mulan. Oh yeah, sbc.mulan at gmail.com. Do a stack. All right, yeah, I need them to I need the iPhone XR with
try another
ending
way.
in tap yes on your phone, get a verification code from the phone, or call the phone.
All right, let me message Tal then.
I've already tried this, man. Call her. A notification should pop up. Oh, and she needs to
It's only
open up
5:30,
a
dude.
Gmail app, and then yeah.
There you go. My
What
God,
happened?
this is so much work. Oh no 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 no! Ah man,
What happened?
I don't want this Mulan email on my computer.
Wait, who's that screensaver of yours?
What are you talking about?
I see your phone on the stream, my guy.
Oh, this is Toby Maguire. Toby Mac.
Oh,
Toby,
okay.
whatever his name is. Alright, oh my God, did I close it? Did I switch? Alright, let me just do this. This. Go to this Mulan email. Do a cancel. All right, I'm in. You can send me the code
What do you mean?
if you want access to it. You could send me the code.
Oh yeah. What do you mean?
As in,
Okay,
I have
I don't know.
access to it. So if you
Oh,
want to
do
log
you?
in, then request a code and I could send it to you.
Okay. How wait? So you already had access to it?
No, I just messaged Tao.
Let's
I
just
just
try
changed
another.
the-
Oh here. Oh, so you changed it to your phone?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, what's the code?
All right, give me a second. It's gotta pop up. Ahem.
I need it.
428972.
428972.
Yep.
I had it, and then all of a sudden I was like,
Ta-da.
Oh yeah, we had a Mulan shirt design.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, were we gonna do that or not?
We were, and then COVID happened. So we couldn't send them out.
Right. Right. Okay, now I have access to the Mulan account. Thank you.
We could still do it.
All right. All right, what are we doing here? Is
forgot
this
what-
the
if you wanted
skeleton
to-
code or the skeleton routine?
I don't know. You wanted the thing, but if we want to finish the skeleton, I'm not sure what else we add. Because I don't want to just throw tricks in. Usually you do like footwork.
All right. Okay.
So I'm not sure what else to add to the skeleton. Because what we have, fierce bow into tricks.
Oh, that was fierce bow. It was not called fancy bow. It was called fierce bow. That's right.
Yeah. I'm not sure what other footwork that we do.
Mainly, a lot of the footwork is not really like footwork. It's more of just how to make it look nice. Like, you know what I mean? It's just... You know what I mean?
Are you talking about like walking? Because I'm
Kind
thinking,
of, but it's
I
like
guess when
whenever I... Go ahead. What are you gonna say?
Because whenever I think of footwork, I'm thinking of like an actual dance.
No, it's more of just like whenever I see like good performances, they always look like they're like always doing it's more of like the acting like a lion. It's like when a lion looks happy, when a lion looks mad, when a lion looks angry. It's more of just not like footwork, it's more like expression. Lion expressions.
Okay. I think the only way to do that is to like actually put on the lion head, because I was really bad at that. Fat had a better
Here we
understanding
go.
of that.
Here you go. I found it. Here, let me send it to you on the Discord, and then you could here. That was the one. Remember, that was the thing that Bobby was learning. How to act happy, how to sleep, how to... the emotions.
Sleepy.
You could reach out to the kids and send them this video.
I mean, I would just wait for practice and just put it in the group chat so they could use that as a reference.
What do you mean? Oh, I guess, yeah. Like I said, you could be the point person on that now.
Okay. I mean, other than that, I'm not sure what else to add to this routine. If we're thinking of like, I guess emotion wise, I think that's just like extra flavor that we would see during the actual routine for what mood we want to have for it, or like what else do we want to do? Unless you want to like, you want to figure out the story for it now.
This performance is not going to be a story performance.
Story, as in like, I mean, it has to have like a mood to it. Like taking the emotion thing from it, like what's our primary emotion that we're gonna be showing towards it?
Here we go. Now I remember why these emotions were like important. Because let's say like one of the kids messes up on a trick, right? One of the kids messes up on a trick. Let's say all of a sudden the Ongdia comes in and then he like scolds the lion, right? The lion gets sad or embarrassed or something. But then the Ongdia, it's like, come on, you could do it. And then all of a sudden gets like the crowd hype, like, can he do it? Or let's try again, right? And then all of a sudden the lion gets excited, gets happy, and then he performs the trick again. Like that's how we build in mistakes to the performance. I think that's something we should work on, like building in mistakes.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like that could be part of like the footwork or the, the thing.
Sure.
Let me just
And
let me just throw in a resource. Yeah. Let me throw it into the routine here.
All right. I guess what else do we have to add then, or what else did you want to do? Do you think this is enough for the filler, or did you want to add something more?
I don't want to do too much. I just want to get a good skeleton so that the kids learn to come up with their own ideas and make it their performance. You know what I mean? It's not our performance anymore. It's the kids. And then after a while, right? Like that's why the kids, let's say like Aiden or Vin, once they get too old or for whatever, right? Then or they're quote unquote out of their prime, that they could start teaching or perform or mentoring the new generation of it, because we didn't really have a mentor or something. We just kind of did it ourselves, right? So then we had to learn it from ourselves. But I want the kids to be able to learn and then also reteach. That's my ultimate 2-year goal. I don't think I could be doing this anymore.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's something that you should communicate.
What do you mean?
I think that if we didn't want to do this, I wasn't planning on doing this. But if we want Aiden and Vin to have a leadership role, we should definitely start I actually don't know. I'm not sure when like leadership starts. Do we want it to do like right now, after Gupmo, during Hipsi Jumtan? Because I think talking with like Vin, he definitely doesn't want like a leadership role right now, especially since he like everything's still relatively new with the new church.
I think the leadership role should start off either um after Cup mode, because then that's also when they learn to be a Hunjung, you know what I mean? And then therefore they're not like still they're not I mean they are somewhat taking a leadership role in the sense of like, hey, they're veterans, right? But they're not really veteran. Also, when you guys were there, what the 18th or whatever, right? Was Chris there?
Yeah,
Did he help teach them or anything?
yeah. Oh, specifically, they just hung out. I think when it came to like Dean and Jeff, it's nice to have an experienced head just to like understand like what it feels like to actually like nail a trick. But at the same time, Chris is built now, dude. Oh my god, he's built. He's just built different.
I mean, yeah, he was freaking in the Marines, dude.
Yeah, dude. Oh my god, Jeff's like, yeah. The difference is that he jumps higher, and I was like, oh shit, yeah, that's a good point. And I was like, yeah. It's like doing it with training weights. But I think at the end of the day, I don't know how I was able to learn, line dance tricks. I definitely saw myself as someone who was not able to do it, and somehow I was able to learn.
I mean,
I
yeah,
think
it
practice
just
makes
all
perfect, but
comes.
at the same time, I think like our generation definitely had a lot more time to practice everything.
Well,
So
yeah,
maybe
we had
that's
like one performance a year with
yeah,
the rest of the year learning and practicing and whatever.
yeah.
Whereas they're like, all right, guys, let's start this. We're gonna do a performance next week. You guys
Yeah,
got it or what?
yeah. So we definitely had it a lot easier. At least time to
It
like
comes with the
nail a
grind.
trick. Yeah, like
Well,
we
I
have a
mean,
lot.
we also had more time because we didn't have anyone to learn from. We all had to learn it ourselves. Like at least them, they don't have to per se
Well,
like
we had Tommy.
learn how to teach and learn at the same time. Like we're teaching them or giving them tips and tricks that we learn.
uh, I don't know. I don't think we're doing a lot when it comes to. I don't know how to teach this. Tips and tricks. I think we could definitely tell them form wise, but even so, like our form's not always the greatest.
But it's better than nothing, man. Like when we first started,
When we first started, I'm trying to remember what it felt like. To be honest, it was a different time. Wow, I was like, how old were we? We were in ESC. That was like 8 years ago.
yeah, man, it was a long time ago. All right, well, I mean, if that's the case, we're good for now. I'll hit you up if anything later.
Mm-hmm. All right,
We're
bye,
good.
man. Take care.
All right, see ya.
I don't understand.
Yep. Did I say that this year? I don't know. That was last year's resolution. Adria, thank you. Thank you. Plum. Aw, thank you. Thank you for the nice message. Plum. Memphi, thank you. The sun'll come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom something tomorrow. Dom Lights, thank you. Rocky Raccoon, thank you. Just in time, thank you. Pickarick, thank you. Ame Español. Polar Night, thank you. Aaron Pumpo, thank you. Breakfast Bandit, thank you. Lynn, thank you. Kenny Stamps, thank you. Memphi, thank you. Emily Sky, thank you. Anthony Webb, thank you. Is it over? When we tried to sing time after time during the members karaoke stream or during... I don't think I finished time after time either during the... Did I?
I can fucking end Come Town right now, brother. I get one crock on that fucking head.
Ludwig's fucking money.
Yeah, dude.
You want to leave? Oh, let's get a look on one of these.
Sound speed? Nice. I want to do one.
We probably
Editor's gonna love seeing fucking
Crazy,
80 of these.
probably only need one.
Yeah.
Probably.
Go fuck yourself,
Mine was like
Archie.
really good.
So fucking good.
I do hate that bit.
Why?
It's a terrible bit.
It's not a bit, bro. I'm out here.
I hate a lot of things you do.
Do you?
Yeah.
All right,
Like what?
top 20.
Yeah, go.
I'll give you my top 3.
All right, fine.
How
Farting.
he farts in front of you
Okay.
in enclosed areas specifically.
I'll look you in the eye
And
when I do it.
think you can't just say he farts, right? Because like he doesn't just fart. It's a different thing.
What
Yeah.
what do I do?
When
Tell me what I do.
slime opens up that fucking sweet hole of his, it's like a sonnet comes out.
No,
Yeah,
it's
I'm
like it's like
talented.
you're a high school track runner going for a PB every time.
Dude, I am. Remember when you were like, I don't go get bagels unless you fucking fart right now, and I looked you in your fucking eyeball, and I did it.
You know the difference between me and you?
Like,
My
so
goal
many.
is to make the world laugh. Your goal is to make yourself laugh.
That's not true because so many of your jokes are rooted in pranking.
No, I summed this up better once. I said everything slime does is for a studio audience that doesn't exist.
That's right.
So
and yours?
himself.
No.
For the idea of a group of people who would laugh because they would find it funny.
But they don't exist, so it's for
Yeah.
himself.
No, but if
Maybe.
they didn't exist in my
Maybe.
head, I wouldn't do it.
But if it was a sketch or like a sitcom, they would be laughing.
Are we just saying he's schizophrenic? I don't get what's going on here.
yeah.
Yeah, dude.
hold on,
Yes.
wait.
Well, let's go back to how your batting average of clearing out rooms with your flatulence is very high.
I do love when you leave. Like, because I farted so bad, you're like...
I love when you leave,
you're like,
regardless
I
of
gotta
what we do.
because
go.
the room we spend the most time in is not well ventilated.
It's really stuffy.
We're sitting in our fucking office, and you just let one rip that lasts a full 8 seconds,
Yeah.
and then you leave, and you're like proud of it, and then either I
just
linger
leave you
and
there.
tough it out, or
You know, it's funny because I know. Like, I just... It's a power thing. You know how many I don't let rip? Think about that shit. Because I could fuck this whole thing up right now.
Yeah, let's talk about power thing.
No.
You're obsessed with power.
Can I say one thing? Can I say one
I
thing?
had...
Real
yes,
quick?
Yes.
Welcome back to the yard, everybody.
It's
I stole it.
episode 2
I
now.
stole it. That's my intro.
I was gonna say the
Nick
intro.
intro week.
I wanted to do the intro because Ludwig has this YouTube voice that I've started to pay more attention to, and because I watch his videos a lot more, and it's very interesting. Like the skydiving video, right? Hey, put it
You
there.
want like an autograph?
Yeah, maybe later. Shingles. So, like, there's this idea that. So you did the skydiving video, and if it's a video that's like it needs an introduction, you'll record it, right? And you'll be like, "What's up, guys? I went skydiving,
Boys!
and sometimes." I don't know what I'm going to do. And it's there's like a timeline where it's gotten very more like exaggerated, like fucking Stretch Armstrong. And it's really interesting because it's like, it's not fake, but it's not real either. And I wanted to ask you, like, what's going on there? Do you like your current YouTube voice, or are you something you're going for still?
Yeah, I think I have to turn it on. Like, okay, let's talk about today. So today we had to do a filming shoot at Beyond the Summit for Smash Summit.
Deal with this shit, too.
And as you can hear, I was sick the whole drive over. Do you remember?
Yeah.
I was just silent, sick,
And
coughing.
I was
Yeah.
like out the window a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the moment we got there and started rolling the cameras, I don't think I coughed once.
You were pretty much a warrior, and you were funny.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, this YouTube voice, to me, it's like, it's weird. Maybe because I know you so intimately. But, like, I wonder if someone watching that's like, this feels right or normal or how it usually is.
I'm like a cat. Like I spend 15 hours a day sleeping and then like 8 hours just zooming around and expending all my energy, and then I'm back to just fucking sleeping for the rest of it.
This has been a big day for
And
you.
I'm also dumb and think there's 23 hours in a day.
But you haven't answered my question.
Yeah.
What is this voice and what does it mean to you?
What do you mean? What
Okay,
voice?
pretend you're introducing a video where you skydived.
Oh man.
Give me a different topic.
Okay. Today, last week, you got surprised with a trip to to a museum where it's literally just cowboy hats, and you filmed the whole thing with Connor Eats Pants and Jay Schlatt.
Okay. Smithsonian. The Louvre. You might have heard of him before, but I don't think you've seen the Rootin' Tootin' Cowboy Museum. Took me, Connor, and Schlatt and our 3 schlongs over to El Diablo's Cowboy Museum and Emporium.
This is not the
This
voice.
sucks.
That's
What
my
is
voice.
this?
Not it.
No,
that's
this
it.
is
Definitely
This
not
does
it.
not
That's
happen
not
in
it.
your YouTube
No,
videos.
this is-
I'll play it.
No,
I'm gonna play it
he's
right
right.
now.
Because
That's it.
I'm just gonna play it.
I just did it.
recently I watched the Vegas story video and then the skydiving video like back to back. Like
Yeah.
like this is the most Ludwig content I've consumed in 1 week. I think.
Boys,
Listen,
yesterday.
just
You do
listen.
have a voice.
I'm gonna
Okay,
hold it.
all right,
I'm gonna hold
all
it
right.
here.
It's
Okay.
just my voice. I
Listen.
don't know what's...
I'm gonna jump out of a plane in this video.
Okay, that's
If
fine.
you don't know,
Here it is.
a few days ago was my birthday.
What?
Okay, you know, just
My
say happy
birthday.
It's got like a
Subscribe
melody
down
to
below
it.
for
And you guys know Coots. I've never jumped out of a plane. But this week, I did what I've never done.
It's weird.
All right. Let me. So is it like the... And now it's time for episode 2 of The Yard. Now, we saw how episode 1 did.
Oh my
Views were
god.
No,
moving.
you're still.
Is that it?
What's
I don't know.
amazing is you can't do it
You
right
can't
now.
do it
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
now, and that's so
You can-
crazy.
70, right, just as we did before. And we were told that the amount right here, the annual lease cost of $112,396.50. Now, assuming that the criteria for the qualify for the transfer and sale are not met, _sale are not met. You'll notice, would you please put down in the margin next to this journal entry, would you please put down billing company, right? That's the company up above, the Billings company, underscore it, and put borrowing, not sale. Borrowing, not sale. Notice, debit cash and credit liability. We're going to have to pay it back. Now notice the next area says on December 31st of year 3, all right, the entry will be made to record interest as well as depreciation on the asset. So let's take a look. Out in the margin, write down Billings Company, underscore it, and put down pays interest expense, and still carries asset, still carries the asset, and depreciates equipment. So it still carries the asset and depreciates it. And as you can see, we had interest expense on the liability and we had depreciation expense on the asset because it's been treated as we didn't sell it. As a matter of fact, on that debit and credit, would you put a bracket and put failed sale, put that in quotes, still carries asset on its books. All right, scholars, let's try a question. Watts enters into an agreement to lease a printer copier from Jennings. The lease is for 3 years and does not stipulate an ownership transfer. Well, why don't we out in the margin, why don't we vertically going down put owns, O-W-N-E-S. And above that, I'm going to put lessee. And the very first thing I'm going to say right here is the following. 3 out of 5 years, that's only 60%. So is that a lot of the economic life? No. So next to the E, I'm going to put no. Then I see ownership does not transfer, does not stipulate an ownership transfer. So on the O, I'm going to put equals no, nor does it contain a written option. So next to the W, I'm going to put a no. As we said, the copier has a 5-year life. 3 out of 5 years is not much. The net present value of the lease payments is approximately half of the value. Gee, that's not substantial. So the net present value is not significant. That's a no. Now, they don't say anything, and this is just a printer. So I'm going to assume, since there's no other facts, that it's not specialized. So I'm going to put a no next to that. So it failed all of those items, didn't it? Failed all of them. So in this particular case, I know that since it's not a finance capital lease, it's going to be an operating capital lease. So that's the owns. Now, for the lessor, let's now below owns, put the word lessor, and then put the letters P and the letter C. right? The P is the present value, guaranteed, residual, and the C is collectability. Well, here, what they're asking us is there's no guaranteed residual value associated with the lease. So with the P, that's a no for the lessor. And once you only have one of them, you know it's not going to be, in this particular case, it's not going to be a sale type for the lessor because the lessee had to meet owns. It's also not going to be a direct financing because you'd have to meet both the PC criteria. So it's going to be operating for the lessor. So here, the correct answer is D. Letter D in this case. All right, gang, let's try this question. Anton owns equipment originally purchased 4 years ago for $325,000. On January 1, Anton sells the equipment to Bridges for $208,000. The equipment has a remaining useful life of 6 years, a carrying value of $195,000, and a fair value of $202,000. Bridge has agreed to lease the equipment back, possible sale leaseback, possible, to Anton for 3 years with an annual payment of $48,375 at an implicit interest rate of 5.25%. The lease qualifies as a sale. So therefore, we know it's a sale. So now we're going to be looking to see how we handle this. When the transfer takes place, Anton will record a finance liability equal to what? Remember, the finance liability is the call of the question. So let's underscore finance liability because that's the call of this question. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a determination. What was the sale price? Let's make that notation. The sale price, $208,000. What is the fair value of the equipment? Let's put down $202,000. So the sale is for $208,000, but the fair value was $202,000. How much extra did they pay? $6,000. That $6,000 extra is called the financing liability. So that $6,000 is a financing liability. If you're interested in the journal entry, I'll give it to you. We would debit cash for $208,000. We would debit accumulated depreciation for $130,000. We would credit the equipment for $325,000. That was the original purchase price minus $130,000 brings you to your carrying value of $195,000. That's where I figured out where the accumulated depreciation must be $130,000 because then the net is the $195,000 they told me about. Now we have the credit to finance liability, $6,000. That was the amount we had above. So if you made a note, you may want to draw an arrow connecting those two. And then you have gain on the sale was $7,000. That would be the real fair value, 102, right? 102 in this case, compared to the 195. So that would be the fair value sale price, 202, compared to the net carrying value of 195 equals the 7,000. All right, gang, now let's take a look at this next item, which is really going to start breaking out the items for us. So circle lessee and circle lessor. Now, for a lessee, there's two options. There's an operating lease and there's a finance lease. But underneath both, under the new standard, Topic 842, put down under the operating lease, it's capitalized. In other words, there will be a debit to the asset and a credit to the liability. It's on your balance sheet. And the finance lease, underscore that one with capitalized. Once again, there'll be a debit to the asset and a credit to the liability. So now there are two distinct types of capital leases for the lessee. Now for lessors, they're going to see that they have three types of leases they can be accounting for. There's an operating lease, a sale type, and a direct financing. Underneath the operating, would you please put down some, S-O-M-E, some risks and rewards are transferred. Some risks and rewards. Now under a sale type, put down all risks and rewards. All risks and rewards are transferred. And under direct financing, put down most risks and rewards are transferred. That is
That's
the
one.
way I would explain them
One
from the
bag.
concept of
Kind of.
literally looking at it from a qualitative point of view. Quantitatively, we're going to do a lot more with that a little bit later. Now, the criteria we're talking about for a lessee. Notice right here, we're going to talk about criteria. And we're going to notice the following. Here's my little mnemonic. If the lessee owns the asset, it's a finance capital lease. If they fail to owns the asset, it's an operating capitalized lease. So owns, O-W-N-E-S. O stands for ownership transfers. Notice the W is there's a written option that is reasonably certain to be exercised. The N is net present value and any guaranteed residual by the lessee. And maybe you want to write that down. By lessee, all right, is substantially all of the asset's fair value. Then the E is ultimately the economic life. And then the S is it's a specialized nature item. Now, out in the margin, let's write on the left, lessee, and underscore it. Put a bracket around owns, O-W-N-E-S, and put finance capitalized lease. I just want to emphasize that these are capitalized. Now, underneath that, the very next paragraph that doesn't have any bold letter next to it, I'd like you to put a bracket around it. And out in the margin, write operating capitalized lease. Now, in that paragraph, underscore, if none of the above criteria are met, in other words, you don't meet any of those criteria, circle or, and then underscore short term less than 12 months. Then it's going to be an operating capitalized lease. Now, let's go over to the right side. And I'd like you to put at the caption at the top, lessor, and draw a bracket around the owns, O-W-N-E-S, on that side. And if the lessee owns it, well, then the lessor sold it to him. So it's a sale type lease. If the lessee owns it, the lessor sold it to him. Sale type lease. All right, now I want you to put a bracket on the lessor side around the P and the C, the present value of the sum of lease payments. And in this case, you'll notice it's the present value of the sum of lease payments. And then right below that, it says any third-party guaranteed residual value. That's what distinguishes it from the N up above, where it's present value of the lease payments and the lessee guaranteed residual. Here, it's third-party guaranteed residuals, and collectability is probable. Now, on the lessor side, you put a bracket around those two, and then write down both met, underscore it, both met. Notice, it was not, the lessee doesn't owns it, but the present value of the lease payments and now third-party guaranteed residuals, and it's probable and collectible, then it's called a direct financing lease. So write that down, direct financing lease. And then with that very last line, put a bracket around it and put down one or none met. One or none met. And then write down operating lease for the lessor. And therefore, underscore in that one, the very second line, if only one or neither are met, the lessor will classify it as an operating lease. So literally, we now have the rules for the lessee. If he owns it, it's a finance capitalized lease. If he doesn't owns it, it's an operating capitalized lease. For the lessor, if the lessee owns it, well, then they sold it to him, sale type. And if the lessee does not owns it, but the present value of payments and third-party guarantees plus collectability is probable, well, then it's basically you're allowing them to finance something. So it's a direct financing lease. And if one or neither of those are met, then it's purely a rental contract, an operating lease. So let's take a look now at the lessee decision tree, which is really repeating what we just said. But I'd like you to circle the O in ownership, the W in written, the N in net present value, the E in economic life, and the S in specialized. Notice, put a bracket around those. And if any one of those is a yes, it's a finance capitalized lease. All right. Now, if all of those are failed, you'll notice the final button there is no. If all of the owns criteria are failed, then it's an operating capitalized lease. So put a bracket around that one item and put down operating and then capitalized lease. Now, I would like you to put one last item down. I'd like you to draw a little arrow and then add one more area. Option not to capitalize. Option not to capitalize if short term, less than 12 months. And put a box around that. So there's an option not to capitalize if it's short term, which is 12 months or less. General rule. We'll have some other items to discuss with that a little bit later on. All right, let's go to quantitative approach. How do you determine this net present value is substantially all? Well, in the second paragraph, you're going to notice right here, we're going to talk about, well, actually go back to the first. It says, although the criteria do not provide bright line tests, substantially exceeds and major part determined, those are kind of, vague terms. So in the next paragraph, circle the word N of owns, and you'll notice 90% or more seems to be the general consensus. And I'm going to draw an arrow from the N up above down to it. And then on the next line, circle the E and underscore criteria for major part of the life. And then below it, put 75% or more. And then draw an arrow from the E up above down to that one. Those are sort of like general standards that most people are buying into. Well, let's take a look at probably the one that's the hardest to calculate, which is the one about the, N, the net present value. Ownership transfers, they have to tell you. Written bargain that they intend on exercising that's reasonably certain, they're going to have to tell you. How many years the asset has versus how many years the lease has, you can put it together pretty specifically. The N, the net present value, is always the one that gives a little bit of concern to us. So we've got a nice example. An entity enters into a lease with a fair value of $3,500. Lease payments are $1,000 per year and are due at the end of the year. The lease term is 4 years and the asset life is 10. And notice right here it says the entity's incremental borrowing rate is 10%. And it says the lease does not transfer ownership and there's no bargain option. So if you out in the margin, you write the O, put an X through it. There's no ownership transfer. Then below that, the W, and put an X through it. There's no written bargain. Now we have to look at the N. So just put the N down. Leave that one alone. How about the E? Well, we're leasing it for 4 out of 10 years. So it's not literally 75%, so that wouldn't work. Cross that out. And it doesn't seem that this is specialized. So the S, I'll put an X through that. The only one that's still possible is the N. So here's what we do. In this particular case, we say the fair value is $3,500. 90% of that is $3,150. Now, the present value of $1,000 a year from now at 10% is $910. 2 years from now at 10% is $830. 3 years from now at 10% is $750. 4 years from now at 10% is $680. It aggregates up to a present value of $3,170. All right, so confidence building question of the class. Is 3,170 a bigger or smaller number than 3,108, which is the one about the... All right, gang, but the present value of the lease payments and now third-party guaranteed residual.
All right, scholars, we're now going to move on to part 2 of leasing. So in module 2 right here, what we're going to take a look at is we're going to start with lessee accounting. And we're going to take a look at the operating capital lease. Remember, if the lessee owns it, O-W-N-E-S, then it's a finance capital lease. If they fail all of those rules, they're still capitalizing it. It's just going to be called an operating capital lease. So let's take a look now at some of those rules as we go into part 2. Let's circle the word lessee. And let's underscore operating leases. And above the word operating leases, put the word capital to remind you this is an operating capital lease. And when is something an operating capital lease? Well, let's put down an equal sign. No owns. O-W-N-E-S. You didn't meet any of the owns criteria. So put that in quotes. No owns, then it's an operating capital lease. You'll note here, if the lessee has an operating capital lease, the balance sheet will reflect the asset and the liability, and both will be amortized over the life of the lease using the effective interest method. All right? The asset and liability amounts are calculated using the present value of the lease payments, and we understand those as reports. Right? We covered that just a couple pages ago at this point in time, and you remember how we broke those out. Reports was required payments, exercise option, purchase price, only indexed items, residual guarantees, termination penalties. So now, on the next line, it says, on the underscore income statement, lease expense will be recognized each year over the lease term using the straight line method for expense measurement. And by the way, after you come statement, circle the word lease expense. That is the term we're going to use. We're going to have one expense and put down one expense on income statement. Note, you're not reporting interest expense.
Well, lease payments. In calculating the lease payments, underscore, lessee will include all, and we're going to report all of the following. 1, required contractual fixed payments. E, exercise option that's reasonably assured. Purchase price at the end of the lease if it's required. Like you're going to pay for 3 years to use your car, and then you must pay $10,000 as a kind of balloon at the end, but the car is going to be yours. And it has to be. It's not an option. You have to pay it. Notice the O is really important. It's only indexed or rate variable payments. So in this case, no increase or decrease to the future lease payment should be assumed based on increases or decreases in the index or rate. Instead, any difference in the payment due to the changes in index or rate are expensed in the period incurred. Notice the next item, residual guarantees likely to be owed. And then the T is termination penalties that are reasonably assured. Now, a lessee lease payments underscore may or may not include. May or may not include. And put above it option, as we mentioned a little bit earlier, non-lease components. You're leasing ultimately 10 computers, and part of the lease has them guaranteed that they'll come in and repair anytime they're not working properly. Well, the lease is for the computers. There's a service contract, but it's all built into the lease. You can separate them or you can lump them together. It's your call. Also, guarantees of lessor debt by the lessee, and put down or third parties. And then finally, the O of NGO, no go, is other variable lease payments other than those noted above. So let's give you an example of lease payments and underscore included payments. Sterling is a lessee for a piece of movable equipment with a useful life of 8 years. Underscore useful life of 8 years. Along with the equipment, the lessor is providing underscore scheduled maintenance. Now, after you've underscored that, out in the margin, put non-lease component. Non-lease component. And draw an arrow. And by the way, go back up to the no-go. The N and then the GO. No-go. And where it had non-lease components, you had that choice. It was an option. Draw an arrow down, because that's what we're talking about here. So it says it provides scheduled maintenance and upkeep that is an underscore accounted for separately. So they chose not to include it. Now the lease is for 3 years. Fixed payments are $34.50. Ultimately, an option to purchase the asset is $12,500, which is unlikely to exercise. $8,000 is allocated to the maintenance and upkeep component. Notice they're going to treat it separately. Lease payments will include $34.50 in monthly payments for 32 months. The option to purchase is not factored in because it's not reasonably certain to be exercised, and the $8,000 allocated to maintenance is not included in the lease payments either. Remember, you could, but you don't have to. Well, let's take lease payments, excluded payments. All right, in this example, Bowden is the lessee for 2 separate lease arrangements. Lease A involves monthly payments and are based on changes in the CPI. Lease B involves monthly payments that are based entirely on use of the leased asset. Well, for Bowden, ultimately calculating the lease payments for Lease A will include. So ultimately, let's circle Lease A and then include variable payments, which are based on what? The CPI. I'm going to underscore the CPI and draw an arrow down to it. Then let's circle Lease B. Ultimately, they'll recognize an expense in the period incurred and ultimately underscore not included. Right? Those are based on usage. Those will be ultimately reported in the period that they incurred. Discount rate. Let's underscore the lessee uses either. Okay, underscore that. And then next to the first bullet point, put first and underscore rate implicit in the lease if known. A lot of times it is not known. The lessor doesn't want you to know that they're charging you 18.5% interest. So they bury it. And they don't even mention it. They just say the lease terms and they never mention the interest rate at all. Now, if you don't know the interest rate as the lessee, then you go to the second one. Write down second, and that's your incremental borrowing rate. So it's the incremental borrowing rate of the lessee. Next item is initial direct cost. Let's underscore initial direct cost will be included. And above that, why don't you write the word capitalize, right? They're part of the lease capitalized amount. And that can be documentation preparation, underscore that, credit checks, etc., are not, circle the word not, included. So those are not considered part of the initial direct cost. Initial direct cost, if you're thinking about it, might be ultimately, as you're ready to sign, you've brought in somebody to look at how to lay out the building most effectively so that people are socially distant to be safe from any coronavirus or any other kind of item, but most efficient for them to get their work done, right? That would be a, floor designer, et cetera, things of that sort. So just like any other property, plant, and equipment, you capitalize all the reasonable and necessary costs. But more importantly, the item that they may throw at you that would not be considered initial, as we said, is document preparation, credit checks, etc. They're not, and you circle the word not, included. All right, now we're going to chat about something called a sale leaseback. And really what we're looking at here is if I were to mention the following statement to you, just listen to this, and I'm going to use very vague terms. I own a building, and I'm going to give you the deed, and you're going to give me a lot of money, and then I'm going to give you money back every month for the next 10 years. Well, did I ultimately give you the deed because I sold you the building, and then ultimately I leased it back, so I'm going to pay you rent, that's the monthly amount I'm paying you back, over the next 10 years because I'm renting it back from you? Well, if I sold it, I recognize gain or loss. And then when I rent it back, I do the leasing rules. Or when I said I gave you the deed, you gave me a lot of money, and then every month for the next 10 years, I gave you back a little bit. Or did I ultimately, in this particular case, did I give you the deed as collateral for a loan? I didn't sell you the building. I borrowed money, and the bank holds the deed as collateral in case I default. And then I made mortgage payments every month for the next 10 years in order to pay off the debt. So did I sell the building and then lease it back, or did I just borrow money and I'm paying back the loan? That's where the sale leaseback issues come in, because they sound awful lot alike. And you can imagine that some management teams may try to manipulate the contract terms so that it looks one way versus another. So a sale leaseback occurs when one party, the seller, that has control of an asset, transfers it to another party, the buyer, and then immediately leases the same asset back. That could happen. And by the way, why would you sell it and then stay there and lease it back from the guy who bought it from you? Now they're your landlord. Maybe you needed that big wad of money so you could go out and buy another company, or you had cash flow problems, etc. A lot of different reasons. So I'm going to have you put a note here. On the right, we're going to have two notes. The first, sale, underscore it, control is transferred. In other words, the buyer takes control. They have the right to do with it as they see fit. Now, the next line, put finance borrowing, and underscore it. And then put down control is not transferred. Control is not transferred. Once again, this is like taking out a loan and using the asset as collateral. Now, in order for it to be a sale leaseback, obviously the buyer has to take control, and the leaseback, put down underneath that whole diagram, must be an operating leaseback. Must be an operating leaseback. And right underneath it, read to qualify as a sale, and then under number 2 on the second line, control has transferred from the seller to the buyer. Now, over in the margin, I'd like you to write one more item down, a little sentence here. If owns is met on the leaseback, and put in quotes owns, it is a failed sale. In other words, control wasn't transferred. It is a failed sale. Put that in quotes. Treat as borrowing. Right? It's not going to be a sale leaseback. You're literally borrowing money. You didn't sell it, no gain or loss, and ultimately you're paying back the loan. Notice now we're going to take a look at that transaction, the repurchase option. To meet the criteria to be a sale, underscore that, and then double underscore both. Both of these items have to be met. The option's exercise price already is or will be the same as the underlying asset's fair value, and alternative assets are readily available. Now, if both of these criteria, underscore, not met, it's a failed sale. And what does that mean? Circle financing transaction. In other words, it's borrowing. So you would have debited cash and credited loan payable, not ultimately sales revenue. Now, guaranteed residual value. A sale cannot take place if control of the asset has not transferred to the buyer, as we noted earlier. It is a qualitative judgment, but underscore this. The more significant the guarantee, underscore that, the more unlikely that it is control has transferred. Underscore control is not transferred. Put the word no on top of that. Right? I don't like the word unlikely. I want you to say it's no, that no control was transferred. And what does that mean? And that means it equals a financing transaction. Let's write that down again. Okay? All right, let's go to the sale leaseback criteria are met. Let's circle the word met, just so we know that we're now looking with the positive. If the criteria are underscore met for a sale, the entity ultimately determine whether the transaction is underscore fair value. See, sometimes in these transactions, you're desperate for money. So you ultimately sold the building to the third party, say the bank. You sold them the building. You said, hey, I'll stay here. I need the building. So I'll rent it. But I needed the cash. I got to pay other things. Oh, by the way, would you lend me money, bank? And the bank says, sure, we'll lend you money. We'll just tie it into the rent payments every month. So ultimately, you're making one giant payment, which is really the lease payment. And part of that payment is also repaying of a loan that you took out. So not only did you really sell the building, but you also took out a loan. So in this particular case, notice you have to determine the asset sale price and the fair value and then the present value. Notice right here, I'm going to ask you to write a note down. Lease must be at fair value. Lease must be at fair value. Any difference is financing, borrowing. Any difference is financing, and then you can put in brackets, borrowing. Now we're going to draw an arrow down to the example we have. Now, after step 2, it says if difference exists. If difference exists, and then underscore. In the very last line, it's additional financing provided. The difference is additional financing provided. So let's take a look so we understand that. Billings Company held equipment on its books with an original purchase price of $500,000. The remaining life is 10 years, and the carrying amount is $415,000. Billings sold the equipment, circle, $490,000. That's what it was sold for at the time of the sale. And the fair value, circle fair value, $470,000. Now hold on, help me out now. It was sold for $490,000, and yet the fair value was only $470,000. I mean, that seems crazy. We're going to talk about that in a moment. Ultimately, they're leasing the equipment back for 5 years at an annual payment cost of $112,396, and that was with an implicit interest rate of 4.75%. All right, assume that the criteria to qualify for the transfer as a sale are met. So it really was a sale. It was not literally totally financing. There was a sale involved. All right. Now, it states, in this particular case, given the facts, both the asset price, $490,000, and the fair value are readily determinable. And underscore difference is $20,000. Circle that. Difference of $20,000. And then draw an arrow from the $490,000 and draw an arrow from the $470,000 that you had circled earlier. So here's what we're going to do. Here's our journal. And by the way, where you had that lease must be at fair value, any difference, we drew an arrow down to here as well, because this is going to be the financing section. So we're going to debit cash because we did get $490,000. We're getting rid of the equipment on our books. So we'll get rid of the equipment, which had ultimately a original cost of $500,000 and a carrying amount of $415,000, which means it had $85,000 of accumulated depreciation. But the net of those two is the $415,000 book value we're getting rid of. Now, ultimately, if you'll note right here, if you put a bracket around those items, if you put a bracket around the two items, $85,000 and $500,000, that winds up being your $415,000 book value. All right? Now, we have the gain on the sale is $55,000. How did I figure that out? Well, we're going to take out on the margin, why don't you put down $470,000 fair value minus $415,000 net book value. There's your $55,000 amount. But what are we doing with that $20,000? That extra $20,000 that was paid, that's beyond the fair value. That difference of $490,000, and you might want to write this down, versus the $470,000, that $20,000 is the financing liability. Ultimately, there's a liability, and you're going to have to pay that back, and it's going to be paid back through the lease payments. By the way, put a star next to that, because that's really what we were referring to. Now note, upon the execution of a sale-leaseback, two transactions will take place. The sale, along with recognition of profit and loss, would be recorded. And
This is like 50 switches. Switches this one. Yeah, I woke up this.
Come and fly away with me. 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 Don't you be afraid, everything will change. You and I jumping off the edge. They say dreamers never die, so come and fly, come and fly, come and fly away with me. We're rising, we're falling, we're making moves. We're climbing, we're soaring, 1,000 views.
What's up? No. I thought that was for your mom. You forgot to give it to your mom? What? Did she? Come on. That's me.
Something's gonna bring the change. Journeys we are meant to take. Something at the edge of space.
What's going on this whole time?
Don't you be afraid, everything will change. You and I jumping.
Is that what your parents did going to Minnesota?
Dreamers never die, so come and fly, come and fly, come and fly away with me. We're rising, we're falling, we're
When is he taking the Rev 4? Are you gonna drop it off now?
climbing, we're soaring, 1,000 views.
3 hours.
Come and fly away, come and fly away, come and fly away with me. Come and fly away, come and fly away, come and fly away with me. Something's gonna bring the change. Journeys we are meant to take. Something at the edge of space.
I should buy a lube station. And I break it apart. Nice, organized. Where's this stuff? I could have waited until Thursday to do this. No, I wanted to do it today. Finish everything today. vision. Take a call to your stand, Lubing Switches. I actually want to take over the steps. One themselves off.
Hold on, let me call Mizzy. Mizzy! Did you tell?
Let me just listen to my block.
Lights up on Washington Heights, up at the break of day. I wake up and I got this little punk I gotta chase away. Pop the grate at the crack of dawn, sing while I wipe down the awning. Hey, y'all, good morning.
Ice cold piragua, palcha, china, cherry, strawberry, and just for today I got my mate.
Oye, Piragüero, ¿cómo está?
Como siempre, señor Usnavi. Ice cold piragua, palcha.
I am Usnavi, and you probably never heard my name. Reports of my fame are greatly exaggerated, exacerbated by the fact that my syntax is highly complicated. Cause I immigrated from the single greatest little place in the Caribbean, Dominican Republic. I love it, Jesus, I'm jealous of it. And beyond that, ever since my folks passed on, I haven't gone back. God damn, I gotta get on that. Oh, the milk is gone bad. Hold up just a second. Why is everything in this fridge warm and tepid? I better step it up and fight the heat, cause I'm not making any profit if the coffee isn't light and sweet.
Abuela, my fridge broke. I got café, but no con leche.
Ay, Dios. Try my mother's old recipe. 1 can of condensed milk.
Nice. Oh, hey, your lottery ticket.
Paciencia y fe.
That was Abuela. She's not really my abuela, but she practically raised me. This corner is her escuela now. You probably thinking I'm up Schitt's Creek.
I've never been north of 96th Street.
Well, you must take the A train. Even farther than Harlem to northern Manhattan and maintain. Get off at 181st and take the escalator. I hope you're writing this down, I'm gonna test you later. I'm getting tested, times are tough on this bodega. 2 months ago, somebody bought Ortega's. Our neighbors started packing up and picking up, and ever since the rent went up, it's gotten mad expensive, but we live with just enough.
In the heights, I flip the lights and start my day.
Next up, ding, Kevin Rosario. He runs the cab company. He struggles in the barrio. See, his daughter Nina's off at college. Tuition is mad steep, so he can't sleep. Everything he get is mad cheap.
Good morning, Usnavi.
Pan caliente, café con leche.
Put $20 on today's lottery.
Okay, must be a lucky day.
Gotta be.
Oh my God, you're so excited.
My Nina flew in at 3 a.m. last night.
Sweet. Abuela's been cooking all week.
Compay, when I see you this weekend, are we gonna eat?
So then Yesenia walks in the room. She smells sex and she perfume. It smells like one of those trees that you hang from the rear view. I know. It's true. She screams, who's in there with you, Julia?
Daniela.
Grabs the bat and kicks in the door.
Carla.
He's in bed with Jose from the liquor store.
No me diga. And that's Cuca, the salon ladies.
Thanks, Usnavi. Cuca. Adios, papi. Bye.
Sonny, you're late.
Chillax. You know you love me.
Me and and my cousin running just another dime a dozen. Mom and pop stop and shop. And oh my God, it's gotten too darn hot. Like my man Cole Porter said, people come through for a few cold waters and the lottery ticket. Just a part of the routine. Everybody's got a job, everybody's got a dream. They gossip as I sip my coffee and smirk. The first stop is people hop to work. What's it? I'm like $1, $2, $1.50, $1.69. I got it. You want a box of condoms? What kind? That's 2 quarters, 2-quarter waters. The New York Times, you need a bag for that. The taxes added. Once you get some practice at it, you do rapid mathematics automatically. Selling maxi pass, fuzzy dice for taxi cabs. Practically everybody's stressed, yes, but they press through the mess, bounce checks and wonder what's next. In the heights, I find my coffee and I go. I find my coffee and set my sights on only what I need to know. I need to know. In the heights, money is tight, but even so, when the lights go down, I blast my radio. You ain't got no skills. Ready? Don't let me get a Milky Way. Yep. And let me also get a daily news and the post and the most important mile. Boss a second coffee, 1 cream, 5 sugars. I'm the #1 earner. What? The fastest learner. What? Boss, he can't keep me on the damn back burner. Yes, he can. I'm making moves, I'm making deals, but guess what? What? Still ain't got no skills. Party hard. Yo, Vanessa, show up, yeah. Shut up. Hey, little homie, don't get so upset. Man. Tell Vanessa how you feel. Buy the girl a meal on the real, or you ain't got no skills.
Mr. Johnson, I got the security deposit. It's locked in a box in the bottom of my closet. It's not reflected in my bank statement, but I've been saving to make a down payment and pay rent. No, I won't let you down.
Oh, here's your chance, escrow out right now.
I'll see you later, we can look at that, please.
Oh, do something, make it move, don't freeze. Hey,
You owe me a bottle of cold champagne.
are you moving?
Just a little credit check and I'm on that downtown train.
Well, your coffee's on the house.
Okay.
Nah, the escrow out.
No way. I'll see you later, so.
Whoa. Yo, smooth operator. Oh, damn, there she go. Yo, bro, take a walk outside. You look exhausted. Boss, don't let life slide. The whole hood is struggling. Times is tight, and you're stuck to this corner like a street light. Yeah, I'm a street light choking on the heat. The world spins around while I'm frozen to my seat. The people that I know all keep on rolling down the street. But every day is different, so I'm switching up the beat. Cause my parents came with nothing. They got a little more and sure with poor. But yo, at least we got the store. And it's all about the legacy they left with me. It's destiny. And one day I'll be on the beach with Sunny writing checks to me.
In the heights, I hang my flag upon display.
We came to work and to live and we got a lot in common.
It reminds me that I came from miles away.
We are non-stop
In the heights,
Every day, paciencia y fe.
until the day we go from poverty to stock
in
up.
the heights, I got today.
Today's all we got, so we cannot stop. This is our block.
In the heights, I hang my flag upon display. It reminds me that I came from miles away. From miles in the heights, it's more expensive every day. And tonight is so far away.
As for mañana, mi pana, you gotta just keep watching. You see, the late nights you taste beans and rice. The summer with shaved ice. I ain't gonna say it twice. Turn up the street lights. We taking the flight to a couple of days in the life for what it's like
In Washington Heights.
Check 1, 2, 3. Check 1, 2, 3. This is Benny on the dispatch. Yo, attention, yo,
attention. It's Benny and I'd like to mention I'm on the microphone this morning. Honk your horn if you want it. Okay, we got traffic on the west side. Get off at 79 and take the left side. Or Riverside Drive, you might slide. Weston's your best friend if you catch the lights.
today?
Any sign?
Your dad, he's on his way.
Anyway,
It's good to see your face.
anytime.
Hold up a minute, wait. You used to run this dispatch, right?
Once or twice.
Okay, we check the technique. Yo, there's a traffic accident I have to mention. At the intersection of 10th Avenue, check the traffic's condition set up. And check it, don't get stuck in the rubbernecking. On 192nd, there's a double-decker bus wreck. Now listen up, we got a special guest. Live and direct from a year out who was. Welcome her back, cause she looks mad stressed. Nina Rosario, the Barrio's bad. On your she's smiling. Say hello, say
Well, lease payments. In calculating the lease payments, underscore, lessee will include all, and we're going to report all of the following. 1, required contractual fixed payments. E, exercise option that's reasonably assured. Purchase price at the end of the lease if it's required. Like you're going to pay for 3 years to use your car, and then you must pay $10,000 as a kind of balloon at the end, but the car is going to be yours. And it has to be. It's not an option. You have to pay it. Notice the O is really important. It's only indexed or rates variable payments. So in this case, no increase or decrease to the future lease payments should be assumed based on increases or decreases in the index or rate. Instead, any difference in the payment due to the changes in index or rate are expensed in the period incurred. Notice the next item, residual guarantees likely to be owed. And then the T is termination penalties that are reasonably assured. Now, a lessee lease payments underscore may or may not include. May or may not include. And put above it option, as we mentioned a little bit earlier, non-lease components. You're leasing ultimately 10 computers, and part of the lease has them guaranteed that they'll come in and repair anytime they're not working properly. Well, the lease is for the computers. There's a service contract, but it's all built into the lease. You can separate them or you can lump them together. It's your call. Also, guarantees of lessor debt by the lessee, and put down or third parties. And then finally, the O of NGO, no go, is other variable lease payments other than those noted above. So let's give you an example of lease payments and underscore included payments. Sterling is a lessee for a piece of movable equipment with a useful life of 8 years, underscore useful life of 8 years. Along with the equipment, the lessor is providing underscore scheduled maintenance. Now, after you've underscored that, out in the margin, put non-lease component, and draw an arrow. And by the way, go back up to the no-go, the N and then the GO, no-go. And where it had non-lease components, you had that choice. It was an option. Draw an arrow down, because that's what we're talking about here. So it says it provides scheduled maintenance and upkeep that is an underscore accounted for separately. So they chose not to include it. Now the lease is for 3 years. Fixed payments are $34.50. Ultimately, an option to purchase the asset is $12,500, which is unlikely to exercise. $8,000 is allocated to the maintenance and upkeep component. Notice they're going to treat it separately. Lease payments will include $34.50 in monthly payments for 32 months. The option to purchase is not factored in because it's not reasonably certain to be exercised, and the $8,000 allocated to maintenance is not included in the lease payments either. Remember, you could, but you don't have to. Well, let's take lease payments, excluded payments. All right, in this example, Bowden is the lessee for 2 separate lease arrangements. Lease A involves monthly payments and are based on changes in the CPI. Lease B involves monthly payments that are based entirely on use of the leased asset. Well, for Bowden, ultimately calculating the lease payments for Lease A will include. So ultimately, let's circle Lease A and then include variable payments, which are based on what? The CPI. I'm going to underscore the CPI and draw an arrow down to it. Then let's circle Lease B. Ultimately, they'll recognize an expense in the period incurred and ultimately underscore not included. Right? Those are based on usage. Those will be ultimately reported in the period that they incur. Discount rate. Let's underscore the lessee uses either. Okay, underscore that. And then next to the first bullet point, put first. and underscore rate implicit in the lease if known. A lot of times it is not known. The lessor doesn't want you to know that they're charging you 18.5% interest. So they bury it. And they don't even mention it. They just say the lease terms and they never mention the interest rate at all. Now, if you don't know the interest rate as the lessee, then you go to the second one. Write down second, and that's your incremental borrowing rate. So it's the incremental borrowing rate of the lessee. Next item is initial direct cost. Let's underscore initial direct cost will be included. And above that, why don't you write the word capitalize, right? They're part of the lease capitalized amount. And that can be documentation preparation, underscore that, credit checks, etc., are not, circle the word not, included. So those are not considered part of the initial direct cost. Initial direct cost, if you're thinking about it, might be ultimately, as you're ready to sign, you brought in somebody to look at how to lay out the building most effectively so that people are socially distant to be safe from any coronavirus or any other kind of item, but most efficient for them to get their work done, right? That would be a, floor designer, et cetera, things of that sort. So just like any other property, plant, and equipment, you capitalize all the reasonable and necessary cost. But more importantly, the item that they may throw at you that would not be considered initial, as we said, is document preparation, credit checks, etc. They're not, and you circle the word not, included. All right, now we're going to chat about something called a sale leaseback. And really what we're looking at here is if I were to mention the following statement to you, just listen to this, and I'm going to use very vague terms. I own a building, and I'm going to give you the deed, and you're going to give me a lot of money, and then I'm going to give you money back every month for the next 10 years. Well, did I ultimately give you the deed because I sold you the building, and then ultimately I leased it back, so I'm going to pay you rent, that's the monthly amount I'm paying you back, over the next 10 years because I'm renting it back from you? Well, if I sold it, I recognize gain or loss. And then when I rent it back, I do the leasing rules. Or when I said I gave you the deed, you gave me a lot of money, and then every month for the next 10 years, I gave you back a little bit. Or did I ultimately, in this particular case, did I give you the deed as collateral for a loan? I didn't sell you the building. I borrowed money, and the bank holds the deed as collateral in case I default. And then I made mortgage payments every month for the next 10 years in order to pay off the debt. So did I sell the building and then lease it back, or did I just borrow money and I'm paying back the loan? That's where the sale leaseback issues come in, because they sound awful lot alike. And you can imagine that some management teams may try to manipulate the contract terms so that it looks one way versus another. So a sale leaseback occurs when one party, the seller, that has control of an asset, transfers it to another party, the buyer, and then immediately leases the same asset back. That could happen. And by the way, why would you sell it and then stay there and lease it back from the guy who bought it from you? Now they're your landlord. Maybe you needed that big wad of money so you could go out and buy another company, or you had cash flow problems, etc. A lot of different reasons. So I'm going to have you put a note here. On the right, we're going to have two notes. The first, sale, underscore it, control is transferred. In other words, the buyer takes control. They have the right to do with it as they see fit. Now, the next line, put finance borrowing, and underscore it. And then put down control is not transferred. Control is not transferred. Once again, this is like taking out a loan and using the asset as collateral. Now, in order for it to be a sale leaseback, obviously the buyer has to take control and the